The dust settled around the ranch house like a shroud, thick and golden in the late afternoon sun. Marcus Thornton wiped the sweat from his brow with the back of his hand, leaving a streak of dirt across his weathered face. He'd been mending fence posts all day, the kind of backbreaking work that made a man forget his own name by sundown. The ranch stretched out before him in all directions, a patchwork of brown earth and struggling grass that demanded everything he had to give and more. He was reaching for his water canteen when he heard the sound. Hoofbeats, but irregular, labored. Marcus straightened, his hand instinctively moving to the rifle he kept propped against the fence post. In this part of Arizona territory, visitors were rare, and friendly ones even rarer. The year was 1887, and the land still bore the scars of recent conflicts, tensions running high between settlers, Apache bands, and the army caught somewhere in between. What emerged from the heat shimmer wasn't what he expected. A single horse, its flanks heaving with exhaustion, carried a slight figure that seemed barely able to stay upright. As they drew closer, Marcus saw it was a girl, maybe 16 or 17, her long black hair plastered to her face with sweat and something darker, blood. She wore the traditional dress of the Apache, though it was torn and stained, and her eyes, when they finally met his, held something that made his breath catch. Not fear. Not exactly. It was something rawer than that, something primal. The horse stopped 20 feet from him, as if it had reached the absolute limit of its endurance. The girl swayed, gripping the horse's mane with both hands. Her lips moved, and Marcus found himself taking a step closer despite every instinct screaming at him to be cautious. "Please," she said, her English clear but accented, shaped by another tongue. "Just make it fast." The words hung in the air between them like smoke. Marcus stood completely still, trying to understand what he was hearing, what he was seeing. Her face was pale beneath its bronze, her breathing shallow. That's when he noticed the blood wasn't just on her face. It was seeping through her dress near her side, a dark stain spreading slowly. "You're hurt," he said, his voice coming out rougher than he intended. "I know what I am," she replied, her eyes never leaving his. "I know what you will do. All I ask is that you make it fast. I am tired of running." Marcus felt something twist in his chest. He'd heard the stories, knew the hatred that poisoned so many hearts on both sides. He'd lost his own brother to an Apache raid 5 years back, had carried that anger like a stone in his gut ever since. But looking at this girl, bleeding and exhausted, asking him to kill her quickly as if it were the only mercy left in the world, something in him rebelled against it. "Get down from that horse," he said. She blinked, confusion flickering across her face. "What? Get down. I need to look at that wound." "You do not understand," she said, and now there was frustration in her voice, maybe even anger. "They are coming. The men from the town. They blame my people for the attack on the stagecoach, but it was not us. They will not listen. They will not care. I cannot run anymore, and I will not let them." She stopped, her jaw tightening. "Please. Just make it fast." Marcus stepped closer, close enough now to grab the horse's bridle. The animal was too exhausted to protest. "How many are coming?" "5 men. Maybe 6. An hour behind me, perhaps less." Her eyes searched his face, looking for something. "Why do you ask this? Why do you not just?" "Because I'm not going to kill you," Marcus said, and even as he spoke the words, he wasn't entirely sure why. Maybe it was the way she sat that horse, proud even in defeat. Maybe it was the clarity in her eyes, the absence of pleading or begging, just a simple request made from one human to another. Or maybe it was something deeper, something that had been growing in him over the years, a weariness with violence, with hatred, with the endless cycle of revenge that seemed to define this territory. "You are a fool," she said, but she was sliding down from the horse now, her legs nearly buckling when her feet hit the ground. Marcus caught her before she fell, and she hissed in pain as his hand inadvertently pressed against her wounded side. "Come on," he said, supporting her weight. "House is just over there. We need to stop that bleeding, and then we need to figure out what to do about those men." "There is nothing to do," she said, but she was letting him help her, leaning against him as they made their slow way toward the ranch house. "They want Apache blood. Any Apache blood will do." Marcus kicked open the door and helped her to the wooden chair near the kitchen table. The house was simple, just 3 rooms and a loft, but it was clean and solid, built with his own hands. He grabbed a clean cloth and his wife's old sewing kit from the shelf. Elizabeth had been gone 3 years now, claimed by fever, but he'd kept everything just as she'd left it. "Let me see," he said, kneeling beside the chair. The girl hesitated, then slowly lifted the torn fabric of her dress. The wound was a graze, a bullet that had carved a furrow along her ribs but hadn't penetrated deep. Painful and bloody, but not fatal if cleaned and bound properly. "You were lucky," Marcus said, already working to clean the wound. She didn't flinch, didn't make a sound, though he knew it had to hurt. "An inch more and you'd have been dead before you reached my fence." "Perhaps that would have been better," she said quietly. "Don't say that." He wound the cloth tight around her torso, binding the wound. "What's your name?" She was silent for a long moment. "Nazca." "Marcus," he said. "Marcus Thornton. This is my land, has been for 8 years now." He stood, moving to the window to look out at the empty plain. Nothing yet, but he knew they'd come. Men worked up into a rage, looking for justice or revenge or just an excuse to spill blood. They always came. "Why are you doing this?" Nazca asked. "I am nothing to you. Less than nothing. I am your enemy." Marcus turned to look at her. "Are you? Did you attack that stagecoach?" "No." "Did you kill my brother 5 years ago when raiders hit the settlement at Copper Creek?" "I do not know your brother. 5 years ago I was helping my grandmother dig roots and gather herbs. I have never killed anyone." "Then you're not my enemy," Marcus said simply. "But those men coming, they won't care about that. They'll see your face, your dress, and that'll be enough." He moved to the cupboard where he kept his guns. 2 rifles, a shotgun, and his revolver. Not enough to hold off 6 men if they were determined, but enough to make them think twice. "You cannot fight them for me," Nazca said, her voice urgent now. "They will kill you too. Better to give them what they want." "Better to." "I already told you," Marcus interrupted. "I'm not killing you, and I'm not letting them kill you either." He checked the loads in his rifle, then looked at her again. "Can you shoot?" She stared at him like he'd grown a second head. "What? Can you handle a gun? Rifle? Revolver?" Yes. My father taught me before." She trailed off, and Marcus didn't press. Everyone out here had a before, a time when things were different, better, whole. He handed her the revolver. 6 shots. "Don't waste them." Then he grabbed the shotgun and both rifles, positioning them near windows that offered different views of the approach to the house. Nazca held the revolver like it might bite her. "You are truly mad." "Yeah," Marcus agreed. "Probably." He positioned himself by the front window, watching the horizon. The sun was lower now, painting everything in shades of orange and red. Beautiful and terrible at the same time, like so much in this land. They appeared 15 minutes later, just as Nazca had predicted. 6 riders, moving fast, and Marcus recognized them even at a distance. Tom Bradshaw from the general store, his son James, the Garrett brothers, and 2 drifters who'd been hanging around town looking for work. Not bad men necessarily, but men who'd been afraid for so long that fear had curdled into something uglier. Marcus stepped out onto the porch, his rifle held loosely across his chest. Not threatening, but not welcoming either. The riders pulled up 50 feet from the house, and Tom Bradshaw dismounted, his face red and twisted with anger or exertion or both. "Marcus," Tom called out. "We're tracking Apache girl. Saw her heading this direction. She come through here." "She did," Marcus said calmly. Relief and anticipation flickered across Tom's face. "Good. Good. Then step aside and we'll take care of this." "Take care of what, exactly?" Tom's expression hardened. "You know what. Justice. Those savages hit the stagecoach, killed 2 people. We're done waiting for the army to handle things. We're handling it ourselves." "Did you see this girl attack the stagecoach?" Marcus asked. "Don't matter if I saw her specifically. She's Apache, ain't she? They all the same. Marcus felt something cold settle in his stomach. This was the moment, he realized. The moment when he could step aside, let nature take its course, go back to mending fences and nursing his own grief and anger. The easy choice. The safe choice. She didn't do it, Marcus said. And she's under my protection. The words seemed to echo in the sudden silence. Tom's face went from red to purple. Your protection? Marcus, have you lost your mind? Your own brother. I know what happened to my brother, Marcus cut him off, his voice sharp as broken glass. I know exactly what happened. I also know that killing an innocent girl won't bring him back. Won't bring back anyone. Innocent. Tom laughed, but there was no humor in it. There ain't no innocent Apache. You know that. I know she's bleeding from a bullet wound, exhausted, and asking me to kill her quick because she's so tired of running. I know she's maybe 17 years old. And I know that if you want to get to her, you're going to have to go through me. The Garrett brothers shifted in their saddles, hands moving toward their guns. Marcus brought his rifle up smoothly, not quite pointing at anyone, but the threat was clear. Marcus, Tom said, his voice strained. Don't do this. Don't make us choose between justice and friendship. There's no justice in murder, Marcus replied. And friendship means trusting that I know what I'm doing. Go home, Tom. All of you. Go home and let this go. Can't do that. Then you'll have to shoot me first. The standoff stretched like taffy, seconds feeling like hours. Marcus could feel his heart pounding, could feel the weight of the decision he'd made settling onto his shoulders. Behind him, through the open door, he could sense Nazca watching, though she stayed out of sight. It was Tom's son James who broke first. Pa, he said quietly. Pa, maybe we should. Shut up, James. But the moment had shifted. Marcus saw it in their eyes, the anger beginning to cool, reality setting in. 6 men against 1, yes, but that one was dug in, had good cover, and knew how to shoot. Some of them would die if this went hot. Maybe all of them. Marcus, Tom tried once more. If we ride away, if we let this go, you understand what that means? You'll be marked. People will say you chose Apache over your own kind. Let them say it, Marcus replied. I'm choosing right over wrong. If people can't see the difference, that's their problem, not mine. Another long silence. Then Tom turned and climbed back on his horse. You're making a mistake, he said. Maybe, Marcus allowed. But it's my mistake to make. They rode away slowly, looking back over their shoulders, and Marcus stood on that porch until they were nothing but dust on the horizon. Only then did he lower the rifle. Only then did he allow himself to breathe. When he turned around, Nazca was standing in the doorway, the revolver still in her hand, tears streaming down her face. Why? She whispered. Why would you do that? Marcus looked at this girl who'd asked him to kill her, who'd been so sure there was no mercy left in the world. He thought about his brother, about his wife, about all the anger and grief he'd carried for so long. He thought about the choice he'd just made, and the man he'd chosen to be. Because somebody has to break the cycle, he said simply. Might as well be me.